The Duchess of Cambridge and the Duchess of Sussex wore pensive expressions as they paid their respects, and watched wreaths laid, at the Cenotaph this morning. It is the first time that the Duchess of Sussex has attended the official Armistice Day service at the Cenotaph, and she was placed on a separate balcony to Kate, who stood side by side with the Queen and the Duchess of Cornwall. Meghan, who is expecting her first baby with Prince Harry in the spring, looked pensive as she observed the 1 minute's silence to mark 100 years since the end of the First World War. Wearing what is thought to be a black Givenchy coat with shoulder cap detail and a black velour pillbox hat, Meghan wore her hair tied neatly back in a bun. On her coat, the Duchess of Sussex wore just one single poppy. Appearing nervous at times as she stood on the balcony of the Foreign Office, next to the wife of the German president, Meghan was seen playing with her hair as the wreath-laying service began. Meanwhile, the Duchess of Cambridge appeared on a separate balcony, standing side by side with the Queen and Duchess Camilla. Duchess Kate opted for a military-style outfit, with silver buttons and a cream collar for the somber event. She wore a striking black velour hat tilted to the right, and cluster pearl earrings. The Duchess wore her hair French braided and then pinned neatly into a chignon. The Duchess also made sure her own display stood out, wearing 3 paper poppies and 1 ceramic brooch pinned to her coat. Kate proudly wore the Royal British Legion's Women of the First World War brooch, which honors women who served and lost their lives as a direct result of the First World War. She had switched her display to her left breast, in accordance with tradition, after wearing them on the right at last night's Festival of Remembrance to be close to the heart. The mother of 3 appeared emotional as Britain fell silent to remember its war dead, biting her lip at one point and looking straight ahead as the reveille blasted out to mark the end of the silence. The Prince of Wales led the rest of the nation in honouring the country's war dead on Remembrance Sunday, taking the role historically held by his mother Queen Elizabeth for the 2nd year in a row. The Queen led commemorations at the Cenotaph, and made sure her own personal tribute was loud and clear, by wearing a cluster of 5 poppies pinned to her black coat with a sparkling diamond brooch. Her Majesty appeared comfortable in the companionship of Kate and Camilla, with Prince Philip absent from the occasion. The Duke of Edinburgh has rarely missed the commemorative event. Duchess Camilla also went for a display of multiple poppies, wearing 3 paper flowers pinned to her black coat. Big Ben, which has been silent since renovations to the Elizabeth Tower began in August last year, struck at 11 o'clock to mark the hour the armistice was signed. Prime Minister Theresa May and Labour leader Jeremy Corbyn joined Prince Charles in laying wreaths as Prince Andrew, Prince Edward, Prince Harry and Prince William looked on in full military uniform. Crowds started lining the Mall in central London early on Sunday morning ahead of a People's March this afternoon. Wearing poppies and carrying wreaths, hundreds gathered from 9 a.m. to mark 100 years since the guns fell silent. The march will proceed around St James's Park before turning into Whitehall, where 10,000 people are expected to stream past the Cenotaph. Why Meghan didn't stand with the Queen, Kate and Camilla at Remembrance Ceremony. The Duchess of Sussex wasn't standing with her royal family members at a Remembrance Day service on Sunday, but that doesn't mean she was slighted. During the solemn ceremony honoring those who lost their lives in World War I, the Queen, Duchess Kate and Duchess Camilla stood together at one balcony, while the Duchess of Sussex watched from the balcony of another window outside the Cenotaph War Memorial in London. As the balconies of each window are small, it's nearly impossible to fit more than 3 or 4 women on each, and although Meghan didn't join her family members, she was given a very important position of her own. During the ceremony, she watched with German President Frank-Walter Steinmeier's wife Elke Buitenbender. During official events, the royal family also arranges themselves according to a royal pecking order. For instance, when Meghan made her official Trooping the Colour debut in June, she wasn't front and center on the palace balcony, and instead stood behind Kate and Prince William. Joe Little, managing editor of Majesty magazine, told People there was no slight intended, but William being the older, more senior brother would go out first, with his wife. Meghan, was still in a good position, added Little. She was central rather than the alternative of being in the front row and along the balcony to the left or right. A palace source said that Meghan's balcony position would have come from her. There's no one laying this out, telling her where to stand. And there were a lot of kids who everyone would want at the front. During Sunday's event, Meghan, who is expecting her first child in the spring, stepped out wearing a black coat and hat with her hair pulled back. Meanwhile, Kate sported a black coat with a white collar and red embellishments on the shoulders. She finished her look with a hat and cream earrings. Both wore red poppies, the symbol of remembrance for World War I and veterans. The two sisters-in-law also wore similar all-black outfits at Saturday's Festival of Remembrance ceremony at Royal Albert Hall. This is Meghan's first Remembrance Day as a member of the royal family. Clever way people think the Queen denied rumours about tiara row with granddaughter-in-law Meghan. The Queen is rumoured to have had a heated exchange with Meghan over the tiara she wore to her wedding to Harry. Alleged dramas took place because Meghan wasn't allowed her first choice of tiara, according to an unnamed source told The Sunday. As the Queen was spotted at last night's Remembrance Day Eve services at the Royal Albert Hall, people thought she was sending a clear message about the rumours. Her Majesty wore the exact same brooch as she wore to Meghan and Harry's wedding. On social media, the subtle move was interpreted as an intentional gesture, and it sparked some heated debate. Some people think it's the Queen's way of saying the rumours about the row circulated in the media are false without saying anything at all. One person wrote, "Loving that the Queen is showing how much she loves and supports her granddaughter-in-law and grandson by wearing the same brooch she wore on their wedding day. HRM knows how to slam the lying press without saying a word. God bless her." Another agreed, but the Queen wearing the same brooch from Meghan's tiara and wedding day tonight says a lot about the lie without directly making a statement. The Queen definitely shaded the fake news sources in a subtle manner. It was clear that pick was intentional tonight. Other people praised the Queen for her subtle way of communicating her feelings on the matter. Another wrote, "Now, that's how a true Queen shows support without saying much." A second agreed, "She speaks with her jewelry." A third said, "Her Majesty is the Queen of Shade." According to an unnamed, Meghan wanted to wear an emerald-encrusted tiara, but the Queen said no as its origins couldn't be established. The source told The Sun, Meghan had her heart set on this tiara with emeralds and Prince Harry hit the roof when they were told it was impossible for her to wear it. Why the Queen and Kate wear multiple poppies on Remembrance Day at Royal Albert Hall. Today marks the centenary since the Armistice was signed, marking the end for the First World War where 20 million lost their lives. As they do every year, the royal family will be paying their respects to the fallen and will wear poppies pinned to their chests like the rest of the nation. However, the Queen and her granddaughter-in-law Kate were spotted wearing clusters of 5 and 3 poppies during last night's Remembrance Day Eve services at the Royal Albert Hall. This has led to speculation from members of the public about the reason why, and the gesture sends a clear message. There is continued debate about the politics of wearing poppies pinned to coats, as some people shun wearing them for a variety of reasons. The Queen and Kate's quiet tributes to the fallen speak loud and clear. They will not forget the fallen. One theory is that the Queen wore 5 poppies to signify each branch of the services. These are the Army, Navy, Royal Air Force, Civil Defense and Women. It's also been suggested the Queen wears a bespoke corsage, a single piece made up of 5 poppies, rather than 5 individual flowers. Either way, their clusters of blazing red poppies against the royals' somber black attire were certainly difficult to miss. The Queen has never openly discussed why she wears so many, but the sentiment is crystal clear. The Royal British Legion shop doesn't sell a set of poppies like the ones worn by the Queen or Kate, but you can create it yourself using a bunch of individual ones.